Hi class, this is Mr. Tan, and today we're doing what subject? Management operations, thank you. And what question are we on? What question are we on?
P3 question.
P3, good. What does P3 say?
Apply different theories and models of approach, including situational leadership systems, leadership, and contingency.
Good. Apply different theories and models of approach, including situational, contingency, and systems theories. Okay, so what's the key word here?
Apply.
What does it mean? To? Yes, say it. It means to actually give an example in relation to what?
To situational leadership, systems leadership.
Good. So give an example in terms of how situational leadership, systems leadership, and contingency leadership is applied using the case study, which is Tesco's. So we're going to apply it using Tesco's. But the first thing we want to really do is really look at the different theories. Okay? And starting the question, you may just want to talk generally about the different leadership styles. Okay? Different leadership styles includes what? Autocratic leadership styles. What else? Democratic, laissez-faire, participative, transactional leadership styles, and transformational. So you may want to lead into this, briefly that we've talked at before in terms of different leadership styles. But the question about business is, what type of leadership styles should we use in different situations? But let me ask you a question. Why is leadership so important?
Getting things done.
Yes, but getting the things done from your employees. As a manager or senior manager, which you guys will be in a position of, it's about motivating your staff sufficiently to do their best work in the maximum time and efficiency. And your leadership style is going to either motivate people or demotivate them or keep them neutral, depending upon your leadership style, but depending upon the situation and the task and the job at hand. So you need to take these things into consideration. And many theorists have talked about different things. So they talk about there are situational leadership styles, there are contingency leadership styles, which we're going to look at some theories. There are many theories, but we're going to look at a theory in each, and system leadership styles. So if we take contingency leadership styles first. So with contingency leadership styles, which theory is this? Fiddler's contingency theory. And what is Fiddler saying? What is he saying?
Least preferred co-worker,
In brief, we
task
need to
structure,
Yes.
position power,
Yes.
leader-member relations.
So Fiddle is saying that depending upon the leadership style, it's going to really depend on different factors combining and mixing within themselves. So he says about the least effective, least preferred co-worker. So least preferred co-worker is a person who may be a little bit obstructive, may not have a good relationship with, may not get on well with. And then he talks about the task structure. How clear is the task? How clear is it? Or ambiguous is it? And in terms of the group activities, do you know exactly what needs to be done in that job role and function? Okay. Position power. Does he have positional power, legitimate power? Or does he have expertise power or referent power? What type of power does he have to allow him to adopt a leadership style? Because if you don't have any power, then you don't really have any leadership. Then you can have leadership, but you might need to adopt a different leadership if you don't have any positional power. And leader-member relations. How good is the relation? Here we're saying that the leader-member relations is good. So there's a good leader-member relation. So you're going to explain that it goes from, so Fiddlers categorizes these different situations, and different leadership style will depend upon these situations. And when we look at this, we can see, so Fiddler talks a fit of leadership style between the task and relationship and the situation, if it's favourable or unfavourable. Okay? Both relations and task-oriented leaders can be effective in the right situation. So once you've explained this theory and you've broken it down in terms of what he looks for, then we need to do what?
Once you identify the situation, then we select the appropriate leadership style.
Yeah, good. But then we need to do what in the question? We need to
You
apply
apply
it.
into a real life situation.
Good. We need to apply it now to the case study. So let's take the situation of this group gave me a manager organising the cashiers and organising the cashiers on the self-service tills. So, in your opinion, what leadership style, using this theory, do you think you would use and why? Give me this scenario. Is there a least preferred worker? Is there a good relationship or bad relationship with your employees?
Leader, remember.
Let's say there's good relations, you know your staff, you know your team, you work with them, and you know you've spoken to them on a personal basis, you've got to know them over the years, and they work there for, I don't know, a period of time. Okay? But equally, you might have some inexperienced people there as well. Okay? So, what about the task structure? Is it clear?
Yes.
So tell me this, what needs to be done?
You need to identify the staff, the people who are capable and
Yes.
competent for the job.
Yes.
And you need to take into consideration that some people will not be able to stand 12 hours or 8 hour shift.
Yes.
And
And you need to know how many cashiers you need at what times during the day to meet customer satisfaction needs. You need to know how many staff you have. You need to know how many staff can go on the till. You need to know how many staff you would need for the self-service area. And then you would need to know, do you have enough staff to rotate these people for breaks, for lunch, and for leaving? So you're going to know what's involved. And as a manager, you would have this experience. Do you have position power?
you are manager.
Yes, you're the manager or supervisor, so you have position power. So you have authority over these employees to tell them what to do. And you may have good relationships with them as well. You're not always going to have, with the majority of people, you have good relationships with people because you get to know them over a period of time. And the people who don't like it, they would normally just leave. So let's say we've got good relationships, we've got good position of power, good, clear task structure. So what leadership style might we adopt here using this theory for these cashiers in that situation, applying it? What might we use? What type of leadership style might you use? Is it autocratic? Is it democratic? They all decide who does what? Participative. Yeah, it's going to be more participative. Where people decide, well, I need my break at this time. I'd like to go at this time. Or I'd like to have my lunch at this time. And can I do this? And or I'm leaving at this time, and so on and so forth. So it'd be more participative, not so autocratic as such. Because also, if we remember in Tesco's, according to Tesco's itself, Tesco state that they have a theory Y employee, McGregor's X and Y theory, and they adopt a theory Y employee, where staff know what they're doing, they're quite motivated, they can get on, and they achieve the objectives. It's not theory X. Okay? So now we've explained this model and we've applied it. Okay? So that's contingency theory. Now we need to do what? Now we need to look at situational model. A situational model, and the situational theory we're going to look at, there are other theories, but the situational theory we're looking at is path-goal theory. And in path-goal theory, what is the first thing that needs to happen here?
Identify the goal.
Yes. In the path-goal theory, we're saying, what exactly is the goal? Because you need to explain this. And then what's the next thing that you need to do in path-goal theory?
Identify the tasks.
Good. You need to identify and break down the task. You need to say, clarifies the task, the scope, the boundaries, clarifies the role and responsibilities of the employees working for that task, looks at the task success. How do you determine success, in that role for that task, provides guidance and coaching, removes obstacles, and provides psychological support. Again, in here, this is saying you're actually going to bring in psychological support here in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, motivating people. Yeah? You're going to bring in maybe Hertzberg's two-factor theory. So here you're bringing in motivational techniques to help motivate the people. So you've identified the task, and then the next thing is to what?
To break down the task.
You've broken down the task, and the next thing is to good.
Staff.
So look at the staff. And what are we doing at the staff? What do we do? When we're looking at the staff, what are we saying to ourselves as managers?
Consider their competence, consider their...
Yes.
This one which they have more
Yeah,
experience.
Yes. Considering the experience that they have, considering the skills that they have, considering the competence that they have. So for instance, in some employees in Marks and Spencer's, there are some women who are absolutely amazing at merchandising. So they can go into their section and they can re-merchandise everything. But there's some people who don't have a clue about dress wear. And what colours go with what. So if you don't have a clue, you're going to struggle. You don't have the necessary ability and the skills to do it. So you're looking at the people. And as you quite rightly said, that those people in relation to that goal, in relation to that task for that goal. And so once you've identified the task and you've broken it down and you looked at the experience of the employees and what type of leadership they want, what do you then do? You then adopt the leadership style. The leadership style is dependent upon the employees and their preferences and also the task at hand with the main objective of the goal. Okay, so when we're looking at these, we're saying to ourselves, the different propositions that path goal theory talks about in terms of